And 3, 2, and 1. Hello, everybody. We are back. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. I'm Kevin, and this is
Chanel. Hello, everybody.
So what I want to say is, Chanel, before we got started this week, I told you about an episode about something I saw on the social and the media, and it was regarding child custody. Exchange. We've all been through it. We have to exchange our children. The child may go to the other parent's house on every other weekend, or maybe summer visitation, and we got to exchange. We got to do a swap with the kids and stuff like that. But what happens when that thing goes horribly wrong? And I'm going to bring up something here. There was a situation that happened where a child got stabbed by the mother during a custody exchange. And I'm going to pull up the video and I'm going to put it right in the middle. And here it goes. And here it goes. Spling.
With live breaking news.
Breaking news at 11 o'clock, an explosion of violence in a local neighborhood during an apparent child custody exchange. This is exclusive video just in from Air 7. Paramedics rushing a young boy who was stabbed in the neck to a waiting ambulance. And we've learned that child was being held hostage by his own mother, who was armed with a large knife. Fearing for the child's safety, police stormed into the home on West 52nd Street, just east of Broadway. And during a struggle, the woman was shot by police and the child was stabbed. Paramedics rushing both to a local trauma center for treatment.
So, this show, we bring a lot of light to things, and sometimes we're a lot of, we find a way to make these things relatable, and sometimes they're funny. This situation right here is not one of those funny situations, because this is real life, and we never know the mental psyche behind what drives a parent to do certain things. So, Chanel, I'm going to let you jump in there first before I tackle it, but I'll let you go ahead. What are your thoughts on this one right here?
Wow. So it's very, very important that the village is in play. It's very important not that you are co-parenting just with that parent, but that or you have some knowledge of the people that are around them, so that you can know kind of what the mental status of this person is. You're not with them day to day, so you don't know what changes are happening in their lives, and and you perhaps may know from the conversations that you may have during an exchange or getting ready for an exchange or anything like that. But if you notice that something is off with that parent, like their behavior is just erratic and off-putting, and it was unusual, then it's very important to get some type of welfare check to make sure that the child is in good hands when they're over there. It's kind of embarrassing to do, so you want to make sure you have something to back that up. But I do encourage parents to get a welfare check if there's something that's just completely off with that other parent, and they're acting very erratic, and it's getting increasingly questionable for your children to be in that environment. Okay.
Yeah. For those parents out there, co-parents out there who've been through certain situations like this, I know I had one of my old friends he had a rocky time with the other parent, and it got to the point where they would have to exchange the children at the parking lot of the police station, because it became so hostile. And I remember one time they'd been doing that for a while, and everything seemed fine, so they decided just to do it just at a regular like little shopping center somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on this occasion where he went to give his child a kiss in the back seat, and she pulled off with him still like holding on to the door, and she drug him through the parking lot. And if you see these people, you think they were just the typical co-parents. There was nothing. There was no signs. You see what I'm saying? From the outside, there were no signs. We couldn't tell that. But from the inside, those two had to know these type of issues were going on. You know the person who you laid down with, who you married to, the mother of your children, the father of your children. You know their personality types. So rare does somebody out of the blue just pop off and all of a sudden something happens, unless there's some medical issues going on. They could be bipolar or something like that. But for the most part, we probably know who the parent of the child is. Mm-hmm. So if there are warning signs out there and we see those signs out there, we need to make sure that we are covering ourselves in those situations. If we need to do changes with our children at the parking lot or crowded parking lot, then by all means we need to do that. And in those situations, sometimes you may need to keep your interaction short and simple. Open the car door, let the child go to the other car, get in, get out, and we move on. Sometimes you don't have to say hi and bye, because you never know why these situations are where they are right now. There could be some other issue that went on to why you all two are not together. So you don't want to push the envelope, because this situation right here where she was not willing to give up do the exchange, it resorted in this. So it had got to the point where it got so bad where she done pulled a knife out, the police done got called, and then she stabbed the child. So I guess in some way she was saying, so if I can't have him, then nobody's going to have him. But what sense does that make? And it's sad because you've just involved your child in this. Now, mom's been shot by the police. She's going to be probably going to jail. Mm-hmm. Because that could be considered attempted murder or whatever. And so now the child's going to be suffering this because they're not going to be able to see their mother. Right. And so what are we supposed to do as the other parent when the other parent has attempted to try to harm the child? Are we supposed to then take the child to see that other parent in the state they're in? Because now you see what I'm saying? This is a hard subject. This is a hard topic because you can't go on acting like everything's normal and have regular communication, because somebody needs help. Somebody, she's going to need to get help before she can see that child again, because no. I mean, we can't put a child in that environment, because now the child is the victim and you're putting them back into that environment again. So when is that ever going to be right? I don't know, Chanel. This one right here was a tough one because, that's tough.
It's tough, and there's a thing called supervised visitation as well. I've just been dealing with this a situation where the two parents, one parent has his depression has been increasingly getting worse. He's supposedly in treatment, but I don't understand what kind of therapist he's seeing, what that whole situation is. But they do have in their child parenting plan for them to meet at the police station. Mm-hmm. So because she has noticed his aggression getting even more intense, she requested to have an escort actually out, because you can meet in the parking lot at the police station, but they're in the police station. They're not paying attention to who's doing stuff out in the parking lot. Yeah. So she requested to have an escort. And so you can never take these mental health things for granted, because people can be, they could be getting the help they need, and then they can decide they don't want to keep taking their medication. And you don't want that to be at the same time when they have your children, so you got to keep documentation of this stuff. And again, when you're doing exchanges, especially if it's a high contentious relationship between the two of you, a high conflict, better safe than sorry. Yeah. Better safe than sorry. Do not take this stuff for granted. Do not take this. If this person has a history of this, they may say they've been delivered, but how many people we know that say they've been delivered and they ain't really delivered? Yeah. Okay. I'm not diminishing the power of God, but what I am saying is that people sometimes can have selfish agendas, and we don't want that to be a part of our children. Safety. We don't want that to interfere with their safety. If the conflict is between you and the other co-parent, then you need to have safety measures in place, and don't take that for granted.
And that's a good point, because far too many times, unless somebody's vindictive or being petty, they're not going to try to involve outside agencies into these situations. We see the situation where somebody's going after somebody for child support, and they keep going back and forth to court and everything. But in these type of situations right here, where there may be signs, if they never try to attempt signs of abuse to attempted abuse to the child, but they may be harming themselves, or they may not be quite right, So like you say, because it could be some kind of chemical reaction, chemical imbalance. But it's our job as parents to make sure we're protecting our children.
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line. At the end of the day, those children look up to you to protect them. And if one parent is abusing that by abusing the child or being negligent, and the child lets you know that or you see that, then it's your job as a parent to address that right then and there. Do not sleep on that, because the next time you send that child over there could be the last time you see your child. And this is being real. This doesn't say there's nothing funny about this right here, because this right here, this child, while the child is okay, mom has been shot, child has been stabbed, and what about dad? Now dad's got to sit here and pick up these pieces, and so, or whoever else, stepmom or stepdad, because you never know what the situation, what was behind all this stuff. So we don't take it for granted. We don't take our jobs as parents for granted. Don't expect the other person to get themselves fixed or get the help they need. If you see it, then you need to report it.
Absolutely.
We can't they say, well, maybe they'll go get help. Maybe they're gonna get help, maybe they won't. And if they don't, now you put the child back into their hands again.
Absolutely.
And so we don't want to do that.
Absolutely. I can't stress that enough. You are only in control of what you're responsible for. You're not responsible for the welfare of that grown adult. You're not responsible for their mental health. You're not responsible for their emotional. You're not responsible for any of that. And so, but when you send your children over there, you are responsible for your kids. And don't just see the stuff and then act like you don't see it. Like I said, better safe than sorry. Be cautious. Have that caution, and have like you said, report it. And if you reported it, you've covered yourself, because now you're letting the people in authority know, okay, y'all making me go, have my children in this environment. And if something does happen, God forbid if something happens, now somebody got to be responsible. And that don't bring your, that doesn't diminish what happened to the kid, but at least you got people that they have to go through the consequences of, okay, we got to make sure this child is safe. We got to make sure this child is in the safe. If there's something questionable, we maybe need to investigate so that our behinds are not on the line for something to happen.
And that takes me to a point. I know I don't want to belabor the point, but how many cases have we seen on TV where child has disappeared, mother or father left for work and they came back, the child is no longer there, and so we end up having court cases. We have cases on TV where it's sitting there, everybody behind the podium. If y'all see my child, the last time I see my child, and this right here, and the people are crying and distraught, and the person who did it is right there on camera. I've seen so many situations where mother goes to work, left the baby there with the boyfriend, and the boyfriend has killed the child or done something bad to the child, and they're all sitting on camera looking like and asking for rewards in case anybody's seen this thing. And later comes out that the person that you left the child with was the person who did harm to the child. And we, as the other parents, regardless if you are in their lives, if you're there in that local area, you need to make sure you know who are around your children. You have that right to know, okay, who's in the environment with my children, who's in that circle. Because some people in that circle might not be right.
Yes. Whew.
I'm just saying, we have to protect our children. Until they can protect themselves, we have to protect our children. That's our job. We are charged with that. That's what we need to be doing. And I don't care if you ruffle feathers. And people say you're being overprotective. But they're just babies.
Yes.
They're just babies, and they look up to us to protect them. So, Chanel?
Yeah. You're so right.
Yeah, I know this was a serious topic, but I want to make sure we get that out to the people too, because there are co-parents who are going through this kind of stuff right now, and they don't quite know what to do. But if you are in that situation, please contact somebody or some authority figure to make sure that you get this information out there, because you don't want your children not to be able to come home again, because man, life is too short, and you never know the day or the hour. However, if you have some inkling, some kind of, if that discernment is kicking in and it's just not right, and something doesn't seem right, then by all means you need to follow up on it. So with that, thank you all again for tuning in. I want to tell you all to stay safe and be blessed. And Chanel,
go ahead and put God first. I like that you said discernment, Kev, because listen, the Holy Spirit it'll put something in your spirit when stuff ain't right. Okay, yeah. So listen to the Holy Spirit and put God first and keep taking care of your kids.
And with that, we out.
We out.